What happened to the bootcamps? I remember seeing lots of posts on this sub some time ago about bootcamps and job prospects. That's all gone now. In fact, I barely hear about coding bootcamps these days. They aren't really posted about on other software-related subs either. What happened? The demand for devs lowered, so less people believe bootcamps will help them get a job. 2023 happened. There's a sub called Coding Bootcamps. They're there. No one is hiring entry level. I'm still go to meetups at the bootcamp I attended and talk to the current students. The job placement rates are definitely lower than they were, but people are still completing and grinding for jobs. I work with 2 people that are bootcamp grads that just got hired a couple months ago. It took them a little longer than it took me to find a job, but they still made it. People on here often say all bootcamps are scams. Some of them are worse better than others, but still not a true statement. I was considering a bootcamp. Ended up back in school for a CS degree. The good bootcamps were $23K. I didn't feel comfortable dropping that amount of money on a big gamble. I've been teaching part-time with a well-known bootcamp for the last 9 years, and I've seen a huge shift to a B2B model. They're still doing classes for the general public, but it's mainly shifted to online, and there are fewer cohorts overall. Class sizes are also nowhere where they were back in 2015-16. AFAIK. Bootcamps were seen as an easy ticket into a CS career around maybe 5-7 years ago. Then around a few years ago, when all big tech went on hiring sprees, grinding LeetCode became the new easy ticket. You don't see a whole lot of that talk anymore either. I'm sure soon enough there will be a flood of people claiming the easy path to riches is to use ChatGPT to cheat their way through WGU curriculum job interviews or some similarly misguided shit. People want to believe there are life hacks to become rich quickly. So they flock to whatever hasn't yet become or proven to be snake oil. I'm guessing job interview bar went way up and bootcampers couldn't keep up. Huge layoffs. Even a new grad from an above-average college has a hard time getting a job. Bootcamp graduate has no chance. My 2 friends who are bootcamp grads always tell me how much more qualified I seem as a part-time CS student who self-taught web dev skills compared to their 2 years of full-time experience. I'm not bragging, I think I'm kind of okay and I'm desperate for a job. But I am sometimes surprised by the gaps they have. One of them told me how amazing it is that I can use a language other than JavaScript. Bootcampers are some of the last people to get picked for jobs. That's what happened. People are starting to wise up. You're almost always better off just getting a degree. I know from personal experience that HR doesn't even send resumes to management for review most of the time if they're from a bootcamp. Mix that with the 2023 market and it's no surprise they're closing down. The layoffs made people thinking about changing to software engineer think the career change would be too risky. Bootcampers are having trouble finding jobs, at least from stuff I've seen on here. Oversaturated market, low quality education, for-profit models, bad market for entry-level devs. To be fair, this sub has become very anti-bootcamp. When I comment about my experience of graduating from a bootcamp in late 2022 and getting a remote dev job, I get the vibe that a lot of college grads feel like I am taking a job from them. Then when I say I have 2 remote jobs, man, I get downvoted to shit. Doesn't bother me, but I'd imagine it makes my fellow bootcamp grads feel like this sub isn't for us. People finally realized that they are scams. There's now a critical mass of bootcamp grads who are just now realizing that entry-level job postings still state that they require a bachelor's degree. When bootcampers do get interviewed, they realize they can't pass them because did not go through 2 semesters of data structures and algorithms courses. A friend of mine who emodies lazy underachievement was able to land a 6-figure job with no degree. And just a 1-year Python bootcamp. Man shrugging. Bootcamps stopped being relevant after QE ended. Honestly, they should have never been viable to begin with, if not for the Fed distorting the economy. There's a whole sub for it. I start mine tomorrow. People woke up to reality. Coding bootcamps were not a good idea last year for most people. Exceptions always exist. Or 3 years for that matter either. But it took all those tech layoffs and a recession for the harsh reality of those facts to be slapped into people's faces and wake up enough to stop prompting them like mindless zombies on Reddit. Bootcamps, for better or worse, are still incredibly popular. Most of the more popular coding bootcamps have had their attendance rates double since 2020. Not hearing about it doesn't really mean anything. Though I'm sure this post will attract all the people who've always disdained bootcampers, and it'll just be a circle jerk of, yeah, they realized they suck. Bootcamps are zero interest rate phenomena. They still exist, lol. I went to a coding bootcamp last year and got a coding-related job. So I am proof it's still possible. People love asking obvious questions on this sub. We're seeing what we've seen in every single tech recession. Demand for labor goes down. And CS enrollment follows suit. Most colleges can deal with that, but bootcamps will have a much harder time. Closures and consolidation will follow. Gone. Reduced to atoms. I'm a little over halfway through my 6-month bootcamp, so I guess I'll let you guys know. Bootcamps were primarily those who couldn't teaching. Once the free money dried up, their Ponzi scheme starts to melt down. Boot scam. If you can learn Spring Boot, React, HTML, JavaScript in 3 months and be able to build and host online apps using those concepts, you don't need bootcamp. I went to a bootcamp when I first started and it helped me learn Spring and struts and full stack technologies when I only knew Java from college. They also did some unethical stuff to get people hired from the camp, like fake resumes and references, but it really did help people get their foot in the door, and I'm a happy senior engineer now. Bootcamps work. You can get a job. Just in different subreddit. Oh man. I'm so glad that hype is over. I've worked with close to 40 bootcamp graduates at my company in the past 3 years, and I'd say maybe 3-5 of them were worth the purchase. The program was a disaster. The vast majority of bootcamp grads I know are all happily employed. Only the top of the distribution is getting hired at FAANGs and the bottom not getting jobs at all. They're definitely still a thing, lol. I graduated from one in 2021 and am on my 2nd dev job now. I made a ton of good connections during my time at bootcamp and was a great way to get my network started. Obviously they're not for everyone, but if you want to learn, it's a great way to get started. A lot of copium and gatekeeping in this comment section. I'm very entertained. They scammed a bunch of people and moved on to the next grift. Probably some crypto bullshit.